Hey everybody, my name is George Passarello. I'm the Digital Marketing Director of the VON Agency, and you are watching VONsense. Today's topic, by the way, this is, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Joe, the Social Media Manager for the VON Agency.
I'm Barry. I'm the owner of Barry's Auto Body.
Barry's here because he's our favorite client, and this podcast is how to be a better client. You know, being a better client to me, from the marketing agency point of view, means that you keep communication with the client. You inform us of what's going on in your business on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, so we understand your business as well as you do. So, you know, if you're expecting to hire a marketing company or do your own marketing, and you expect it to be something that you can, try for 30 days, don't bother. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint, and you have to be ready for it, and you have to be committed to it, and it will pay you back in spades if it's done properly. And Barry, I'd like to ask you, from your perspective, what do you think? What do you think that means when I say be a better client? Because you said that could be a little insulting, I
mean, if you want a good marketing team around you, you have to be a good client. You got to know what you want. I mean, at Barry's Auto Body, we do a lot of different marketing, whether it's Facebook, Twitter. I mean, our biggest things are really Facebook, YouTube, AdWords. Now we're going to be starting to do podcasts too. Just different things you put out there. It's not a one size fits all. It's not like you can just walk in and the marketing company is going to know exactly what your business needs, what the niches are, because every business is different.
It is a learning curve, for us and for the client, for you. We have to experience things together to see what works and doesn't work, and then know where are we going to apply the budget to by monitoring and tracking it. So that's a very important part. If you can't track it, don't bother doing it. That's my opinion on it.
And the only way to do that is communication. If there's no communication, then you're just constantly looking at results that maybe you don't understand 100%, or we didn't provide you with the results in a way that will help you understand. So the more we talk, the more you're constantly in contact, the better it is.
Yeah.
I have a Barry story. For me, one thing that makes him a better client is he lets me do edgy things. And my favorite one was that what I'm thinking of. The Putin one. Somehow or another, Vladimir Putin came into the conversation, and George had said, "Car troubles Putin you down, call Barry's."
It was during the whole Trump controversy.
Right.
So there you hit another point. Yeah. Be what's happening. Make that part of it, and then also, check with the client, make sure they're okay.
But it was really edgy. It was like a picture of Putin in a car, and he had just ran somebody over in front of Barry's shop, and the guy's body was like underneath the cartoon car. It was wild. But
I think the most important one, well, not the most important part, but one of the big important parts of that was that it was edgy, but it was also, there was a picture of Putin, but it didn't have just him pushing Trump over the cliff or him just pushing Hillary over the cliff.
That was the video.
Yeah.
There was a video, guys. It wasn't just, we didn't stop there.
Yeah, it was like a whole series.
We got some attention.
I think one of the most important parts of that was being very edgy, but it was also not choosing sides, especially with something political where you're going to turn off a whole section of people. I think it was important that it was kind of, Putin, nobody really cares about Putin. He's in Russia. He's not here.
Well, that's another point.
Wait, before you say that, my best memory of that was when we thought of the idea and you were like, call Barry, and it was like, oh crap, I could really do this. And you're like, it's Barry. He'll be okay with it. And when I called you, I was like, I showed Barry the picture, and at first, for people I don't know if I have that one. At first, there was blood, so it was like a body under the car with a decapitated head and blood.
Yeah, Lily went a little crazy.
But the conversation kind of went like something like, "Hey, I don't know. What do you think? Is the blood too much? No. All right, I'll get rid of the blood. Should I get rid of the head? No, keep the decapitated head. Just get rid of the blood." Like this, and I'm thinking in my mind, this is a conversation I'm having with a client.
You have to be fearless in marketing too. And I mean, it brings up to me a good point. Again, start with the customer in mind. We knew Barry would be okay with it being a little little edgy. And like Barry said, we didn't pick sides. I personally would not make my business a political platform for my agenda. I listen to the customer. The customers are a wide variety of people and types, and you don't want to be out there offending anybody. So you have to dance. You have to know how to do the dance. A little edgy, and I'm sure a couple of people some Putin fans might have got offended, but
sometimes using
I think they did.
Yeah.
I think one person was like offended by. He was like, "I'm Russian."
Vladimir?
I don't know. It was probably a hipster in skinny jeans that was like mad. I really don't think it was a Russian.
I'll put Matt in the loop.
If you set it up so that your customers and clients can talk to each other about their opinions, that's just creating buzz around, like George said, something that's current, something that's important in the news now, and that's even better than voicing your opinion. Because it allows your customers to talk with each other and get closer with you as a business.
Yeah, it is. That is one of the best things. I mean, just like anything you do in marketing, whether it's Facebook, I mean, you want comments, you want people, interacting. I mean, you have to. I think another important part is you have to be able to know what's working and what's not. As me personally, as a client, I know how to read all the, when it comes to analytics, Google Analytics. I don't know every single detail, but I know most of them. I could sit there and look at a report.
But you didn't when you started, right?
No, I didn't when I started.
You took an interest in your marketing and learned it.
I actually bought a few books. I ended up doing a couple audio books from Amazon, and I think I bought 1 or 2 different books on, just internet marketing and different things like that, just so I can understand the basics. I don't have to know, every single detail with the analytics, but I do have to know the basics. I have to know if George or, Lily or Joe or Letitia or somebody from the bond agency put something out, there has to be some kind of metrics to see if it's actually working, what it's doing. I think if anything, a lot of times, like, they actually get a little bit more offended than I do. If we get like a couple bad comments, they get more upset than me. I actually kind of like that because I know
really
at least it's touching a nerve. When you get a couple bad comments or something like that, you don't want to get hate mail, but I mean.
What was the bad comment for? The post repair, the guy on the bicycle?
The guy on the bicycle.
That was the one that, right? People went crazy.
I had a couple people going nuts on that one. But I mean, it was,
It was a know your rights. Like, right, post-repair inspection is important to do.
It was a car running into a bicycle, and then the guy holding his head on the side, and the wheel spinning.
Right.
It was basically like a kid just got ran over on a bicycle.
You had an accident. You call your insurance company, and they make you use their repair shop. You get the car back, and it's not running right. Don't jeopardize your family's safety. Bring your car in for a post-repair inspection. We'll repair what the other shop didn't at no cost to you.
Call Barry's Auto Body at 718-948-8585.
And people were offended.
I mean, some people were very offended. Me personally, I don't think we went too far because the kid wasn't in it. It was kind of, getting the point across without going too far. But I remember, it was a couple of bad comments. I thought it was a good thing because people were interacting. They were talking about it. They were getting it out there. I mean, you don't want them actually hating it, but, a little bit of...
Fear is valid marketing. I mean, this is a true statement. They had to know, that this danger exists. And sometimes you have to, be a little edgy to get someone's attention. And then another thing that I love about you, and I'm not just you're here and our guest today. There's other clients, but you can't be afraid to be your own front man. We asked you to come do those Don and Vito videos. You didn't hesitate. You got your sister involved. You got your dad involved, and they're all in those videos. And with that tells people that are afraid to step out in front of their business. I think there's a faith loss issue sometimes where they know Barry's saying it. He owns it. It has more weight, and it also shows that he's not afraid to put his name and his face on his business. So, that's a really important point. Be willing to go out of your comfort zone, and get these things done. Although I think your dad might have taken acting classes because he was better than me. He was better than me, after you were.
I think that's even a newer thing now, people want to see the face of the business. Back then it was the business, the name, and that's it. If there's a logo, that's the only representation there was. Now, a lot of millennials and people my age are looking to see...
And Staten Island in particular.
And another reason why I think it's so important and why I like to be, me, my sister, especially me and my sister, my father also, I like us to be on the videos because I know we're very involved in the community.
How important is that? How much did that
Huge.
change your business?
Oh, it's huge. You end up getting so many different customers from all the organizations that you're in. I mean,
So
I'm a
you
member
trade
of
your
the...
time and a little bit of money to
Yeah,
join.
it's not that much time either. It's not like we spend a ton of time. But even an hour a week, when you get out there in marketing, they see your face, and now all of a sudden you go to some kind of a networking meeting. It's like, oh, I seen you in the video. Weren't you? That YouTube video was funny, or I saw that.
And that's
And
where
it kind of
public
sparks
relations and marketing kind of work
It does,
together.
and everything works together, and then all of a sudden it sparks a conversation, and it just, yeah, I'll tell you the
It's
truth.
an icebreaker.
It's an
It's an
icebreaker, and it's also, it makes them more comfortable with you, and it makes them feel like they know you already.
I know you, family, your sister, your mom, you are super dedicated to these causes. They're real for you. So, everyone knows you're a real community member. And I can't stress enough, don't try and fake being involved. Get involved. Actually make a change in your community.
Yeah.
I do it with the Kiwanis. Your family does it with there's probably a dozen.
Yeah, no, we have a lot. You have to, the whole thing is, I think you have to enjoy it, I can't even say enjoy it, because like certain things we got involved with, I have a 21-year-old brother that died of heroin overdose. So that obviously got us into a lot of different organizations for, drug awareness. My mother does a ton of, she's been on New York Times. I mean, she's been on all different interviews. I mean, she's given more time than any of us, really. Her and my sister do a lot.
Yeah, I have your sister to thank for me getting involved in that. I mean, if it wasn't for, Michelle, if it wasn't for Michelle, getting me into the Kiwanis, which I joined as a networking thing, I said, I'm going to get some business. When it turned out to be something for me that was very different. It was really fulfilling. I started helping the community. I started joining more boards, YMCA, and so on. And none of it now I try to get any business out of. Do I ancillarily? Yeah, I do. But because I'm real. You're second generation business. And that has a failure rate that is exponential. Second generation businesses don't usually make it.
Good thing I didn't know that before.
Thank God you didn't do this podcast.
I think nobody told me that.
No, but I mean, it's an interesting story on how you took what your dad did then, and you jumped right into the modern world of digital marketing. So from when your dad had the shop to the day you took it over till today, what would you say your biggest growth change was for Barry's Auto Body?
I think the biggest growth perspectives we've had was really getting more organized as far as having...
Lily's rolling to the plug.
Getting the body agency was the biggest change we've had so far.
But your dad wasn't involved. Your dad wasn't involved like you are, though. So that's what I meant by that. Not so much the plug.
Well, he wasn't involved. Yeah, no, it was a good
digital
plug. I like
marketing.
that. Yeah, he didn't have that.
Lily gets a raise.
It's good, though.
But that's the whole point of the show, is about what makes you a good client. Why is it important to
back
that
in his
customer?
dad's day, it was a different world.
It was a different business.
Like,
To touch on what Lily was saying is true. It was a different business. Back then you didn't need, just didn't need the same things. It was really just word of mouth. You did the right job to the car. That's really all customers cared about. Today's day and age, doing the right job to the car is not enough anymore. People want to go to a place where they feel comfortable with. Years ago, it used to be basically where the man made all the decisions, and it was just a different world. If I go back when I was a kid, we didn't really have many women customers coming into a shop. Usually they would send their husband, their brother, or somebody else into the shop. Now, today's day and age, we actually have more women customers than we do men.
I can tell you why.
It is
Because women figured out
good
that
reflection, and we
also figured out that we can't depend on men.
I think that is the truth.
So
I think she's right, actually.
It's also an education part
It
of it,
took
too.
you that long to figure it out.
I'm just saying,
Sorry.
Yeah.
basically this
Well, everybody
generation.
can learn. It's not like...
It is, and the thing is that it's obvious in society. You see it everywhere you go. There's a lot more women-owned businesses now. There's a lot more women in management positions. I hate to say it too, in my business, I don't, if I had a problem with one of my estimators in the shop, I wouldn't be out there looking for a man. I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't hire a man. I mean, I'm not going to start, being like reverse sexist or something. But honestly, most of the estimators that I've seen, people writing the cars and things like that, it usually it's a job done better by women. I mean, it's just usually women have more attention to detail. They're noticing all, I even notice it. I mean, when I have a man pick up a car, most of the time, I'm just generalizing him, but most of the time when they pick up the car, they look at it, they walk around the car real quick.
Looks great.
They see everything. Yeah, it looks great. All right, get out of here. Let me go. Goodbye. Take care. When a women, they pick up the car, I mean, they're really looking at every little detail. I mean, they check everything out. They want to make sure the glove box is open, and they're checking this. They're checking the paint colors. They really go around the car. I mean, they inspect it a lot more. And I think, I don't have any way to prove it, but I honestly think that that's why we do have a lot more women customers, because we do, I'm not just saying it because our shop, I think we do the best work on the island. And I just noticed that a lot more women bring their cars in because they care about those little details. They care about, they don't want to pick up a car with little paint imperfections and things like that, and where, men would overlook that.
And I'm going to segue into, a really important marketing point that I like to make. Don't be your own customer. So I'm going to segue off into that now. Don't be your own customer is a really important point, because I think a lot of people start small businesses with the idea that they're the customer that they're trying to service. And that's not to say you might be, you might not be. What you really have to do, and Barry mentioned it earlier too, is listen to your customers. It doesn't really matter what I think. Only facts matter. And if I like the color blue, that might be the 5th most popular color in the world. I might not get as many customers for my blue shirts as I thought, but I like blue. So if you're really looking to hit a sweet spot, it's important not to become your own customer. Go out, talk, use social media, because that's what it's great for. Not just posting, but talking to your customers, chatting, getting to know who they are, getting messages and understanding what it is and how it is they want.
Yeah, that's the one thing I would say is that I agree with you to a certain aspect. You can't be your own customer, because, it's not me that's buying all my product. It's my customer that is. So I have to do, most importantly, it has to be what they want. You have to have, or I have to have some kind of like an intuitive feeling of what my customer, and understanding of what my customer wants. And honestly, I think what a lot of it comes from is experience too, of coming through, different problems with customers and making them right for them.
You learn from your mistakes.
You learn from your mistakes. And that's the whole thing. You're learning from your customer. Every time that you have to learn from them, though, when you have a customer that comes in, if there's a problem with it, you have to learn from your customer, and you have to know what they want.
Yeah, and in addition to actually speaking to the customers, now we have all these data points. So what George was saying before. So, even something as small as your website. Your website was green because you loved green, but when you made it black, you were getting 3 times more the customers visit.
Test.
So test
and you got to test it.
And now there's no opinions that need to be debated, because one thing works better for the market than the other does, and there's no debate there.
Yeah, success tells that story, right?
Yeah, it does. I remember when we first started with the blogs. This actually brings up something, and I used to a couple times, me and George used to not arguments, but little arguments, debate back and forth. And I used to be like, yeah, we did. And I used to tell him, George, the blog, I says, it's got to be, I says, what am I going to do? 300 words. You want to do these little blogs on here, these little, I says, it should be at least 1,000 words. I said, we need a blog. You need to have, I says, if we're going to sit there and waste the time to do this, and we used to go back and forth. And then I started to realize he's right. I was wrong. It's not, it's too many words. You really need a short, right to the point blog. Any of the blogs that we do now, they're all 300 to 500 words, no more. And it just, it gets out there, it hits the sweet spots, and it does what it has to do, without being overbearing, because then people see it and it's just overbearing. But
that's where convenience comes in, especially me. If I'm looking for information, I want to find it. If it's taking too long, I'm just going to give up.
Yeah. A blog is the answer to a question, usually. Yeah, that's right.
So, even with websites, when you get to a website, it's just so much, and I can't find the piece of information that I'm there for, I just end up giving up. And that could be the difference between the customer and
that's the KISS principle right there, too. The short, sweet blogs that are right to the point, to add to marketing knowledge. The blogs serve a lot of purposes. One, they show off your knowledge, just like YouTube, and they let customers know, all right, this guy's involved in the community, or or girl, or they understand the market. They're from Staten Island. They're very knowledgeable on their topic. But it also serves a purpose in the search engine world too. So blogs giving information is most important. But the secondary benefit is if you know how to properly structure your blog, you're going to get found in Google for the right topics. Hopefully, your blog reflects your business, and that gives you what I call searchable keywords. And those searchable keywords on that blog, if done properly, one, it's going to get people to find you, which is ultimately what you want, and then the content of that blog is ultimately going to get people to that's going to close the deal. So the keyword searching will get them, and the blog will close them by showing off your knowledge and understanding of the industry and your neighborhood. I mean, we could talk all day. I'm sure we could do 50.
Wait, I have my little rant.
Go ahead.
Let's go.
Lily's going to close this one up.
Well, no, I just want to say one thing about being a good client. We've had clients that are hard to access, and that's a peeve.
We
for
always
me.
fail when we can't access the client.
Right.
Always. Not sometimes. Always.
Absolutely. And that's one of the most difficult things with some people that I've worked for is having suggestions, and then we are professionals and we know the right campaign that's going to make you successful. And when we give you all the tools, when we're giving you what you're paying us for, to not get a response back and to not communicate and to miss deadlines and miss opportunities, to me personally is something that really, really, really it makes it difficult to just make them successful and to make me successful in what I do. So I think that being just accessible, listening to your team, taking their advice and letting them launch things that will better you.
It's a two-way street. I don't know how to run a pod shop.
Right. Well, Barry's always accessible, and he's always there. And not only are you always there, but you have commentary, and it's fantastic because some people just also will just yes you or not respond at all. You really are engaging.
I think a lot of that has to do with really knowing, I don't know everything there is. Obviously, I'm not in advertising. I don't do that for a living, but knowing at least a little bit where I could hold a conversation and I know a little bit about what's working and what's not, being able to look through analytics. This way, if I do get a call, like anybody from the Vaughn agency, they all know they call me up, they call my cell phone, they shoot me a text or something, I always get back to them right away. And I'm usually pretty good at that because I know how important it is, and it's got to be on the right time too. Because if you have, perfect example you're using before the Putin campaign, it was a great campaign, and just to clear this up, I have nothing against Putin.
Attention, Russian hackers! Do not
hack. No reason. I have nothing against them. But I think
there really was nothing to do with him.
That campaign did really well. It did very well for us. But if we would have ran that probably a month or two later, it would have done nothing. It's just you had to hit it right at the at the sweet spot. The timing was perfect. It was a hot topic right then. And that's another thing. If you're not accessible, a lot of times, like if Joe will call me up or George or Lily or anybody Letitia calls me up, if there's some kind of a hot topic in the news, you have to be available, because if you're not available, you're not going to be able to hit that sweet spot. Because a lot of times, if something just came out in the Advance, or if something just came out in any local news source, you got to hit it right away, or else there's going to be 10 other places that hit it. I think a lot of what you just said also, you kind of brought up 2 points, and as far as listening to the agency, I believe in that 100%, but I also believe that your own ideas have to be in there also. It's me, like George and Lily would just say.
Voice.
Yeah, exactly. They're marketing my voice. I'm the one who knows the technical aspect of my business. When it comes to anything technical, I like to be involved in that because that's what I know. It's what I do.
You're a megaphone, essentially, if you want to put it in a rudimentary term.
And I think that usually what ends up happening is that it's more of a collaboration effect, which always works best. Whenever it's, just the Vaughn agency throwing something out there, it'll work, but it's not as good. Or if it's just me throwing out something there, it's not going to work as good. It works a lot better when it's all of us talking together and it's all of us throwing our ideas out there. And it kind of, usually what we end up coming up with is never my idea or their idea. It's somewhere kind of in the middle. Yeah, it becomes our idea.
Successes always roll that way. Not just with Barry, This is a really good point, Billy. I'm so glad you brought it up. The involvement level is critical. I mean, we touched on it briefly, but we literally, I'm not kidding. When we don't access the client, we always, 100% of the time, fail. eventually. It may last 6 months, it may last a year, it always winds up going awry. So I'm really glad that you brought that one up, and that's the lesson everyone should walk away from this. If they walk away with the 3 things they're going to remember, I hope that's one of them. That if you're not hands-on, we're probably not going to do so well.
Yeah, and just bring back full circle, like those days, those Mad Men advertising days of having, a pitch and then not
crazy
talking.
the prices are insane.
And dropping off a proposal and not seeing your client until maybe the quarterly checkups, like that just doesn't happen anymore. Now it's constant conversation, and it's not just take care of my marketing and never talk to me again.
But it's all a different approach. It's basically, you hit basically certain spots. We'll have, we even put out mailers. Like I send cards.
I got your Valentine's Day card, which for the free car wash.
Right. We actually got a lot of.
You didn't get it.
Did you get one?
I moved.
It's probably your fault.
I know. I moved.
Yeah, but we end up sending out, cards to customers. It's, it doesn't really take a lot of time. It's something simple. We like to send out personal cards to customers. And all of a sudden, when they see you on between the card, then they see you on Facebook, then they see your YouTube channel, and it's like a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there, and it's good to. It's good to get yourself out there that way.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm trying to send messages.
Alicia's behind the camera.
Behind the camera. But one of the things, what else makes you our most successful client is the fact that you're willing to spend money.
That's a good point.
It's true.
It is true.
Not necessarily on us. Not on us. Not on
An
us.
advertising budget. If you're not willing to spend money,
You're not gonna
how
get
do you
anywhere.
get anywhere in your marketing campaign? You get what you pay for. You have to be willing to spend when it's time to spend.
You got
I think-
the classic adage. You got to spend money to make money.
I think one of the most important things that I learned with that too was actually from Letitia a while ago, as far as like just the different blogs that you go out there and just talking more important about consistency. It's not always about, blitz marketing is great. I know McDonald's actually did that, but still does that, and it worked excellent for them. A lot of big corporations do that because they can afford to do that. And that's more of just like throwing a blitz out there, getting your name out there, and then kind of stopping for a while, calming down. It doesn't really, small business, I don't think that really works that well because you don't have the money really to blitz and to like flood a whole, flood the TVs. It's more of a slow and steady. You got to know what your budget is for marketing, but you have to know. I think it depends on the business, depends what you want to, how many customers you're actually looking to bring in. And I think it's important, like you say, slow and steady wins the race. You have to set that monthly budget, and you have to know what you're willing to spend a month. And you have to be able to, be willing to spend a little bit of money to get it done because nobody's going to work for free. It's not like you're gonna, you can't just get it out there.
Yeah, social media isn't even free. People think it's free. They think it's free, and it's not free.
Just
I
to
think
clarify,
another-
it's not even, sorry to cut you off. It's not necessarily the money that you're paying the agencies for service, but more so the money that you're looking to actually put towards the advertising.
Yeah, it's
Prizes for
I think it's
contests,
both, though.
ads.
Yeah, it's a mixture.
It's both because you're not going to get no agency is going to work for you for free. That's just unrealistic. People think that there's nothing for nothing. You're not going to get anything for nothing. No, there's no free lunches in America. It doesn't happen. And you can't expect that. I think it kind of brings up a good point too of when I started working with George. Let's face it. I know, and I'm not stupid. A lot of the Facebook stuff, a lot of the YouTube stuff, like I've even made a YouTube channel for my son. It was just a little thing. He wanted to make his own YouTube channel, so I went on there and did one of them for him. It's not hard to do that. The problem is I'm also not stupid enough to think that I would have the amount of time and the amount of energy to sit there and do it on a consistent basis, and that's the reason why I hired the Vaughn agency. That's why exactly. I have a business to run, and it's just not. It won't work that way.
On that note, we could again talk all day. You've been watching VONsense. We're going to have a series of these coming up in the next several months. Hopefully, one a week we'll get out for you with the intent of helping small businesses understand what they're in for, what marketing means, whatever tips and advice we could give you.
And my very last thing, and then we close. I didn't properly introduce Barry, with his accolades. In 2017, you received the honor of being named King of Staten Island by Star Network.
With who? Me and Barry.
That's right.
That's with George.
You are a Freemason. You are with the Staten Island Business Guild too. Whoa, watch the sound because we have that one son. You are currently on the membership board of the Staten Island Chamber of Commerce as well as the planning committee for the Richmond County Fair. You are the former president of the Staten Island Auto Bodies Craftsman Guild, and you served as a Club Scout troop leader for 2 years.
Yes.
Now I feel better. Now
Thanks
we
for the
can
plug.
close.
Can I rap now?
You can rap now. I have to. I couldn't let him
Thank you for
go.
the plug, Lou.
I couldn't let him go without telling
No,
everybody
it's a plug-in for me. I'm a marketer. And on that note, again, thanks for watching VONsense, Lily, George, Joe, and Barry Coopy from Barry's Auto Body. We hope you're getting something out of this. We'd love to hear your comments. Comment below. If you want to pick on me, go for it. Or anybody here, it's all good.
Just don't pick on me. Pick on George.
We want an open dialogue. But, Barry'sAutoBody.com if you want to leave some comments for Barry as well. And he has Facebook links and YouTube links there. If you want to go check out his Donna and Vito series, which, I'm in, and it's the most uncomfortable moment of my life.
That is Vito.
Vito.
If anybody asks, that is Vito.
Yeah, I guess got stopped in the mall. No. I was like, no. Okay, thanks, everybody.